to Manifest on Purpose. My name is Kimberly Williams. I am a mindset consultant specializing in manifestation. I help you align your mindset with the things that you desire in your life to help you manifest in your life. So what are you waiting for? Come on, let's go. Let's manifest on purpose. Hello, and happy Thursday. Welcome to the Manifest on Purpose Mindset Show. I am your host, Kimberly. I am a mental alchemist. I help you align your mindset with the things that you really want in your life so that you can create the best life available to you. Today's conversation is a continuation from last week's conversation with astrologist Anpu. This is part 2. I hope you're ready for it. First, let me give you my gratitude. I'm so grateful to have you here. I'm so grateful that you bring along your friends and family. Thank you for subscribing here and on the website at manifestonpurpose.net. The God in me loves the God in you. We're going to jump right into the conversation, but first I have a couple updates. Don't forget about July 31st. That's the In Her Growth Circle Sip and Chill event. You can register for that at manifestonpurpose.net. Next week, I have a new guest coming on. It's going to be world-renowned astronumerologist Lloyd, and he's going to tell us what we can learn from our hands. That one's going to be very interesting. Make sure that you don't miss that one. And by the way, just in case you missed our live appearance on Monday, I'll leave that link in the description box below so that you can catch that video. Now, I'm going to jump right into the conversation where we left off last week. Enjoy the conversation. I get the chart. And I love the chart. The chart is a lifesaver for me because I use it to, if I have something planned, I use it to make plans with so that I can see what type of day I'm having or what might be the best time to do it. You also alert people about the code reds. That's when there's a Mars placement there. What can people do in order to protect themselves when they find out that they're having those Mars placements?
Right. Yeah. So like you said, you had protection on you. So like every month, right, when I send those reports out to you guys, my chief priority is to make sure people are not going to experience a negative aspect of Mars. My chief priority, I ain't gonna even lie. It's not even, hey, here's a money zone for you. Because I never want that to happen to anyone. Because one is undesirable consciously, and it's unexpected as well. Nobody's expecting to get in an accident when they go out the door, right? And so it's just no, you know what I mean? I've known people, if I had their chart, people who got shot in the head, you know what I'm saying? And so the thing to do is, one is to release any tension that you have. I don't care what subject matter it is, what area in your life, it needs to get out immediately. So if you got to call somebody and curse them out, go ahead and get it out. Don't suppress it. Get it out. Whatever you got to do, you got to get it out of you, because you can't have the cellular vibration of that energy permeating inside of you. Just because you're not saying it doesn't mean that the universal energies of ether don't know what it is that you're feeling. In fact, how you feel is a reflection of what you think anyway. So you ain't fooling nobody. Okay. So what you feel is just a reflection of thinking. This is why I don't like the term emotional, because it's a blanket statement for irrational conscious decisions. Okay. So there's no such thing as I was being emotional. No, what you're really saying was I made the wrong decision in the moment that I was in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I consciously made a decision to do whatever it is that the person did. And it's just irrational. And so get it out of your system is one. Two, like on my rear view mirror, I got 3 crucifixes that I got from the Catholic store. Why did I go with the crucifix? Well, I'll tell you something. I think that we've all may have seen when an earthquake hits. It hit one year, it hit in Haiti, but for some reason it went around this tombstone that had a cross. There's stories about churches getting set on fire, but the Bibles don't get burned up. There's an invisible intelligence where it respects the universal energy of what this Christ energy represents. First of all, when you look at a cross, you're actually dissipating something that's coming towards you into the four directions, right? So if something, like, think about it, if something hits a cross and was to get split by the cross, literally something's going to go up, something's going to go down, something's going to go to the left, and something. So it dissipates energy into the four directions. It's dope. It's a banishing tool. You know what I'm saying? So to carry certain spiritual items, the Spanish community already know. They keep their rear view mirror laced. You know what I'm saying? Because light is intelligent. The waves inside of light and planetary waves is intelligent. This energy knows how to find you. And so perhaps if you have a force field up around yourself, such as certain prayers, or I always used to quote Gunplay, the rapper. That's why I roll with the Bible on the dash. And here is a dude who the world seen him go into an accountant's office and have a pistol and pull it out on the accountant on tape. The accountant didn't come to court and the case got dismissed. Irregardless of there being a tape evidence, you seen the man, he ain't supposed to have a gun, anything, no way. But the case got dismissed. But here he is too, talking about he robbed with the Bible on the dash in that song, one of my favorite songs, because it's some spiritual gangster stuff on that one. It's like, oh, I got to rock with, you know what I mean? So you do things to protect yourself. It could be certain psalms that you say and just guide your own energy. And then once you, again, learning when these pockets are coming and then making sure that you don't have any internal frustrations is the key. I think, in my opinion, people should do some form of a yoga work to stretch out the meridians, to allow energy to flow freely, your attitude. And some things are just karmic too. You know what I mean? It's a karmic debt that has to be paid, but not being upset by it and trying to understand it and move on from it is the key. So,
in your opinion, do you think your awareness of what's happening in the cosmos
make it happen,
intensifies it, or
yeah, yes and no, right? So that's a very good question, right? Because I remember it's a sister who she's into the Neville Goddard aspect of it, and then I tell her like, oh man, just be careful in your travels. And she's like, oh my God, ever since you told me that, it's like people start swerving in my lane, and I'm like, that is not my reality, and I'm drawing this to myself. And I'm like, okay, right. And I'm not gonna say that you're not drawing it to yourself, right? Because thoughts are absolutely magnetic. My son, for example, man, this dude sucks in retrogrades. Like like 3 cars he didn't wreck in a retrograde. And the last one, we went to go buy it in a retrograde. I'm just tell you, like, if he wrecked his first car in retrograde, and then he come to me for a loan, and I was like, dude, you really shouldn't right now. In my opinion, I don't think you should, but I'm gonna give you the money, but I'm just letting you know it's your choice, right? So I played that option first. You know, I'm not trying to force what I do on you, but I'm gonna let you know what's out here. He gets the car anyway. Maybe a year had it. Somebody run into the back of that, and he had gap insurance, so they totaled that out. And so then he wanted the new fast car, the Dodge Charger. I think I may have posted that picture, the yellow car, the Super B. And I put 8,000 on it, and we make it happen for him. Me and my pops make it happen for him. We get it. Was in the retrograde, and I know this ain't the time that I should buy a car, and I know his history, right? But anyway, okay, let's go defy the rules. Let's go break it. Typical Aquarius, let's do it anyway. Man, he get that car. I promise you, he don't have that car for 30 days before it has to go to the shop, and they can't figure out what's wrong with it. They didn't drop. It's leaking oil, and it's blew the engine, and they didn't put like 3 engines, and it costs the shop like $14,000 every time they do this. Come to find out, it was a plug. You got to be one mechanic just knew it from a whole different other shop. Like, man, that ain't the engine ain't the problem. It's this plug that's loose. It just squirt the oil out and all this time. So, but he gets the car, and not even 2 months later, he totaled it out on the morning of that eclipse that just passed. So never even had the car more than 60 days of drive time. You know what I'm saying? And it was a year in June that he just had, like, literally he only had the car for almost a year at the point when it got totaled, right? So he asked to use my truck. And I'm like, dude, ain't you on the code red? Because I had told him he was in the code red before he got into an accident. And he wanted to use my truck because I got the big blue Ram, you know what I mean? And I got the sport edition, sunroof, the hood, and you know what I mean? And he wanted to use, I was like, dude, ain't you on the code red? And he was like, yeah, man, that stuff don't happen till I think about it. And I was like, nah, Because see, before you knew it, my point was with this, before you knew it, you was already in the cycle. I had to go figure your cycle out for you. You see what I'm saying? To show you. So you're not even conscientious of this shit to put attention on it to even make it work against you. You see what I'm saying? And so it's yes and no. You know what I mean? And plus, there is something that's super dope. There are two observation effects, observer effects. The first one you speak of, you putting your mind to it or you drawing it to you, that can happen. But there's another one in the realm of past life regression therapy where you're able to see your past life and see that, okay, in this lifetime, you may have asthma, because my client, she had asthma real bad. But in the past life, when I regressed her, and that's another thing I do, right? It's past life regression. So when I regressed her, she died of cancer, lung cancer. And immediately after coming out of that, she no longer had an asthma attack. Her asthma was so bad, she couldn't even be around incense, no smoke, like restaurants, barbecues, construction on the road, bust a U-turn. Like, she can't be around smoke, period. And then notice she happened to be by smoke and it didn't trigger her. She lit incense, it didn't trigger her. And she hasn't had an asthma attack since 2013 when we did that session. It's to be 10 years next year, and she was born with this. And as the book describes, miracles happen, past life memories, Dr. Brian Weiss, miracles do happen, the transformational power of past life memories. It's nothing but testimonials of people who had diseases, saw their past life and the cause of the disease, and it disappears in this lifetime. No therapy, no imagining, no herbs, no medicine, none of that. Just by simply being able to access the subconscious mind. And that's where it's really at for me. That's what I love to do. I love that work right there. So the observation effect in the subconscious deletes the negative program, but in the physical, you can observe something and it draw it to you. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on what plane you're on because the laws can change.
Break that down. Depends on what plane you're on.
Yeah. So like, for example, if something that's extremely cold end up turning hot, right? Like, wait a minute, it's cold, but if it's extremely cold, it can burn you.
Dry
You know what I'm saying? Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So the vibration of it changed. You see what I'm saying? So when you go to a different state, in a sense, when you go to a different state, then it changes. The laws of it change. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, as well, I guess to a degree, I wonder if you use the whole solid liquid gas thing, in a sense, like it's this one thing, but that one thing can go through different states. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's this, but then it's bubbling now. Oh, now it's this. Oh, now it didn't totally evaporate it, or you froze it and it became this. You see what I'm saying? So the laws change. You see what I'm saying? As you go through different, let's just call it, as you go through different vibratory frequencies, in a sense, the laws change. You know what I mean? And so it depends on you. The Quran had this beautiful statement, and somebody was coming with an omen, and the Quran said, your omen depends on your interpretation. I said, ooh, that's heavy. The omen depends on your interpretation, how you initially perceive it to be. That's what it's going to be. This is why me personally, I don't like pendulums to a degree, Because the pendulum, if I had one, do I got one?
I got one.
You got one? Right. So, oh wow, I got one too right here. Right. So, all right. So you can hold it still, right? So hold it still, and let's do this thing where I want you to tell your pendulum to move towards your camera and in between you, like it's going back and forth. So you can already see mine starting to go, right? And yours is going to. Good. So I want to speed it up though. Make it go faster. Go faster. There you go. That's good. And now let's move it into circles. You see? And so now mine is going into circles, right? Now you can tell it to stop. And we're going to draw the energy to a standstill. And so you start to see it start to slow down. And see yours can't, you see how yours is? So it starts to stop. So my point is, and mine's finally going to come to a stop. There we go. And so my point is, the pendulum is reading your thoughts through electrical impressions, which could be your subconscious thought on the subject matter. It's not a bad thing. It's not bad. I can get too philosophical because how I know that it's not my subconscious that's telling me this is a no-no. And maybe that no-no is a truth and it should be a no-no for me. But how do I know that it's not interfering with something that should be yes, when it's just a subconscious belief about whatever? You see what I'm saying? Because the thing ain't got a mind of its own to tell you anything. It ain't gonna tell you anything in a sense. So it's reading the impressions, the impulses off of my subconscious belief. You see what I'm saying?
With the Oracle and Tarot cards, all of those tools and techniques, the Ouija board, subconscious techniques. And I feel like a lot of times that the information is coming through subconsciously. And then I personally believe in the collective subconscious. Really, we're collecting energy from not only this time period, but maybe from another life or maybe from another plane, like you said earlier.
All the time. All the time. All the time. All the time. There's a school of thought that says that you don't have no original thoughts. Like you think about this and then it's gone and another thought comes. The question is, where did that thought come from? And so it's just streams of consciousness at all times. You don't have a thought of your own. It's a stream of consciousness, like that light bulb goes, oh, what turned it on? You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily coming from within per se. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's no difference than being able to, like when I do readings, then I become clairaudient. This clairaudient ability kicked in some years ago. And I'm able to pick up on people's names of a family member that's deceased. And I take that back. That's such a cancer rising cancer energy. Because earlier I said, I'm a cancer rising, but I had nothing in cancer. But that is a trait that I have, ability that I have. But I'm saying that to say that, the energy is just streams of information. You know what I'm saying? You seen the Netflix show, the guy named Tyler, I forget his name, but he do like these readings. Listen, if they ever had a championship of readers, this dude hands down is the coldest. Like he be telling people, like he go into the zone where he start drawing and he'd be like, yeah, you got a sibling, Angel. Yeah, I got a sister named Angel. He's like, he dope. He be calling names like he dope. But where's he getting this information from? It's readily available in ether. You know what I'm saying? It's just readily available. It's there. So I agree with you 1,000%, that the information is just around you.
And that's how some people define the mind, is information and energy. And it's non-local. So a lot of times we think our mind is in our head, but really our mind is outside of us, picking up energy from everybody else and everything else that's going on around us. I heard you talking about your son and how he went against your judgment during the Mercury retrograde to get the car. What would you tell people that don't believe in this science? They never had their astrology report done before. What would you say to them?
your belief is not required for the law to be what it is. So, in other words, but whether you believe the sun has an effect on human behavior or not, it don't matter. You know what I mean? Whether you believe it or not, you can feel the light of the sun, period. You can feel it. Women's menstrual cycles are correlated with the moon. That's a fact. This is evidence on it. I do this. I have it myself. I'm not repeating nothing that I've heard. I've done this study. Be curious. Have intellectual curiosity. I've never forget a good friend of mine's. When she graduated college, she became a chemical engineer. And she's a Black lady, and one of the white guys at work told her she don't have enough intellectual curiosity. And so every now and then I'll mess with her. Shut up, you ain't got enough intellectual curiosity. You know what I'm saying? So I would say have some intellectual curiosity. Serious. It's said that the scientist Niels Bohr and Einstein used to debate, and Niels Bohr used to tell Einstein, shut up and calculate, because Einstein couldn't understand quantum physics. That's why he called it spooky action at a distance. He's like, whoa, wait a minute, this is weird, spooky action at a distance. And when he would challenge Niels Bohr, Bohr would tell him, shut up and calculate. And so I would say have some intellectual curiosity to be connected to this beautiful, vast system that you are a part of anyway. It's a fact that people get seasonal affectionate disorders called SAD. When it's not enough light, people get sad and depressed, and they have to go to a sunnier climate and whatnot. Sunlight has an effect on behavior, has an effect on photosynthesis, which deals with plants. In return, it gives you oxygen, which in return you need it to live, has an effect on you. It has an effect on your behavior. If the moon corresponds with a woman in her menstrual cycle, and the moon has a gravitational pull on all of the waters on the earth, the majority of the human body is water, and it has an effect on the big ocean, you think it don't have an effect on your little peon self? It has to. It does. So learn this relationship. I had a good friend of mine yesterday. We was talking. So I just came on my period, and she came on her period when the moon was in Virgo, and exactly where Saturn is at when she was born. And I said, now I want you to go Google some keywords for the moon and Google keywords for Saturn. And I want you to tell me which parental roles go to each planet, to, Saturn and the moon. So the moon is obvious as mommy. Saturn is father. I said, now go Google father time Saturn. She said, I want you to see it for yourself. She said, yeah, I see it. Chronos, bet. So you see, they call this dude father time. All right, cool. How is it that you come on your menstrual cycle when the planet that represents mommy is in perfect alignment with the planet that represents daddy and also karma? Okay. I said, don't you see the connection? She had a heart. She didn't really see it. I said, listen, every time that I have put her through an advanced relaxation technique, call it hypnosis, whatever. I like to call it art, advanced relaxation technique. Her father comes up, and she comes out of these sessions and she's crying because her father's deceased, but she has these connecting moments where we can go beyond the physical body when you tap into the divine within, and now it's not about space and time no more. And she's always there with her father. She comes out of these sections just crying gratefully, like a relief. But her mom serves as a major trigger in her life. Like, she would talk about her mom, and she'd start talking about her mom, and she'd just get agitated. So her menstrual cycle, which she cramps really bad, comes when the moon that represents mommy hits the planet that also represents karma. So now, as she's down in Mexico on vacation, on her last couple of days, she's cramping real bad on her cycle and can't really fully enjoy it because there's unresolved karma that's there that has to be worked with. You see what I'm saying? So I would tell people, hey, just look at the basics of things and go to astro.com. It's free. Got to know your time of birth, preferably. Print out your chart and your children's chart and just see if there's any common denominators. That's all you got to do. Just see if there's any common denominators. Like, I know that, coincidence, hey, my daughter got a ninth house son. I got a ninth house son. My two sons got a ninth house son. My son that took after his mom, she got a fourth house son, and he has a fourth house son because both of them was born almost close to midnight. You see what I'm saying? And so start looking for patterns. Are there geometric figures the same? Because there's going to be lines that go from one planet to another planet, and that line talks about an angular communication. In astrology, we say aspects, but it's really an angular communication. I love what the Greeks did because they took it and they personified it and made them into characters. The sun is Apollo, and the moon is Diana, the goddess, and Venus is Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, and Mars is a Roman, thug of war. You know what I mean? So had personalities. So these lines that you're going to see in your birth chart they're having a communication with each other. The question is, if it's red, then it's a beef. There's a conflict. There's anger that's there. If it's blue, it's more harmonious. As if green, it's got to be worked out a little bit here. And so there's a communication that's taking place. Now, look at your chart, look at your children's chart and see if y'all have the same geometrical patterns. Then see if y'all have planets in the same houses and whatnot. And then see, do y'all have planets in the same sign, perhaps? You see what I'm saying? And see if you can find what I call cosmic common denominators within your immediate bloodline, your family, your mother, father, your children, in that sense, to see, because if that is the case, then the beauty of it becomes, wow, you mean to tell me that like we're all born? Because this is only like a 2-hour window when you're dealing with certain things before the configuration changes. You see what I'm saying? Like, you mean to tell, like my son, the Mercury retrograde son, he's an Aquarius rising. Dude got something at 10 degrees Aquarius. That's where my moon is. You know what I'm saying? His south node is exactly 27 Aquarius, which is my sun degree. You see what I'm saying? And so like this dude is all on me. You know what I mean? He got strong Aquarian markers in his chart. You see what I'm saying? And so I would just say, do the study yourself before you form an opinion. And the research is critical because we parrot information too much. Like, for example, how many colors in the rainbow that you've heard? How many colors?
7.
7 colors in the rainbow. And it's not. It's 6. It is 6 colors in the visible spectrum of light. There's Roy, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, blue, violet. There's no indigo. You don't see no color between blue and purple. Really, you really see a color between blue and purple. Now, here's the thing. You can Google this and put up color wheel. There's 3 primary colors in the universe: red, yellow, and blue. Red and yellow, right, are going to make orange. Yellow and blue is going to make green. And then if red and blue decide to, conjoin with each other and have children, you're going to create purple. So the 3 primary create 3 secondary, which becomes 6, right? Where's indigo? You see what I'm saying? So when you understand color theory, in a sense, in the color wheel aspect, and then when you mix which called a tertiary color. So if you take a secondary color like orange and mix it with red, you get red orange. You see what I'm saying? And then you get these, when you mix those, then you get 12. See, that's the 12 signs of the zodiac. But what I tell you earlier, the 12 signs of the zodiac all fall in what? 3 categories, right? Those 3 categories are synonymous with the 3 base colors of light: red, orange, and yellow. I mean, red, yellow, and blue. Okay. And so there's no 7 colors in the spectrum. It's 6. Hence, man was created on what day? The 6th day. And when you look into this, you'll see that it's true. And you'll see that Isaac Newton had a fascination with the number 7. And he's the one that actually said that. And we walk around here and we parrot that. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. And black people got it bad. 400 years of slaves. You're taking a Bible quote and applying that to your real life situation. You were not a slave for 400 years. You were not. It was 200 and some change. It was not 400 years. The earliest slaves, let's just say 1619. Let's just start right there. If we want to start with 1619, 400 years would be 2019. You mean to tell me in 2019 we were still in physical bondage? We were not. But we parrot that phrase because we heard it, and whether it's the true story in the Bible, your children be in bondage for 400 years, and you applied it to yourself, we then run with it as if it's a fact. So before you form an opinion, do some simple research, is what I would say, with yourself and your family.
So do you have any book recommendations? I've read a lot of books that you've suggested, including the one you suggested that you talked about earlier about miracles.
Right now, if it's astrology based, it's only one book, I promise you, and it's Planets in Transit by Robert Hand. That's the book right there. Planets in Transit. Like, I love Robert Hand's description. Robert Hand is the GOAT for real. Although it's talking about transits mean in motion in the sky right now. So, for example, I was born with the sun in the 9th house. Okay. Only thing I have to go do is look at sun transit 9th house. And then it'll tell me the definition of what that means. Because again, transit means where they're at right now in the sky. So although it's Cancer season, right now the sun is in my 1st house, but I was born with the sun in the 9th house. So I can read the sun in the 1st house right now in real time, but I want to know about me. So just look at the house of what it is and just go reread that book, pull it out, and just correlate it with one another. Oh, I got Mars in the 8th house. Okay, let me go look at Mars transit the 8th. Oh, that's what that means. You see what I'm saying? And you would get a thorough definition of yourself. And then it also gets into the aspects, like, Mars opposite Saturn, you know what I mean? And then you can read that and stuff. So I recommend that particular book on that to get into to understanding the depthness of your soul. Dr. Brian Weiss. A smaller book would be Miracles Do Happen. Oh, I'm sorry. Healing Through Time. One of those books is more smaller. But anybody, you can just go Amazon and, to get into the past life aspect of some things. And, start to just understand that this is deep, man, because it's about the evolution of the soul, and the soul has memory, and we're unconsciously playing some things out. And it's very dangerous in the West because we're not taught about, our culture is not a culture that comes up in this kind of information. In the Western hemisphere, it is usually through a form of trauma. Got to go to prison, and Detroit Red becomes Malcolm X. You got to go through a point of trauma to get you to understand your higher calling and purpose, because it's not taught as the mainstream. So our ignorance of not knowing is dangerous, and we have to cut that part out and, again, be intellectually curious. And this stuff is documented when you're dealing with, Dr. Brian Weiss work. This dude is a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, a psychiatrist. He the one that 302 you and everything. So his work is authentic. Yeah, I would start with those two from the astral perspective and then the soul perspective, just to get some case study done. And so you can see and then start your journey from there.
Thank you. Thank you. And tell everybody how they can reach you.
My websites are down. I'm not even in that mode, honestly, to be like out here offering certain things that I used to. But a person can just simply email me. I work off spirit and energy, Sometimes some people just want a confirmation. And if it's a confirmation, then hey, go for it. Do it. I can pretty much fish that out of you in that question. But then sometimes it may be a little deeper. And if it is deeper, my spirit, allows, then we can set something up. But you can email me at nobleanpu, right on the screen, nobleanpu, ANPU, at Gmail. Yeah, you can send any inquiries there. And then I got the show on all podcast platforms called Cosmic Conversations with Noble Anpu. Type that in, and I'll be dropping podcasts over there. So I'll be doing something in a couple of days. If not tomorrow, put something new over there and whatnot. And that's where I'm at.
There you have it, another amazing guest. Knowledge of self is so important. It's a big thing for me. And for me, it's important for you to know thyself. I'm so grateful for my amazing guest for sharing their knowledge with you so that you can grow on your journey. Remember, it's all about mind, body, and spirit. Make sure you're tuning in next week. Next week is going to be an amazing week. We're going to continue with manifestation techniques. We're going to have our weekly meditation, and we'll also be hearing from another special guest, world-renowned astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. You can catch that conversation on Thursday, and he's going to be talking about what we can do with our hands. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.